The Carnival Chernobyl. Yeah, that's something you probably didn't expect to hear today on the YouTubes, but that's exactly what we're talking about as Fincantieri, one of the major shipbuilders in the cruise industry, they're teasing nuclear-powered cruise ships. What could possibly go wrong? Let's get into a news article coming out from cruiseindustrynews.com. Fincantieri to explore nuclear mini reactor for large cruise vessels. Oh boy, I have so many things to say about this one. Fincantieri has announced that it has signed an agreement with Nucleo, a nuclear energy company, to carry out a feasibility study for nuclear power applications in the shipping industry, including Nucleo's lead, cooled small modular reactor. A tiny nuclear reactor powering your next cruise, be it Carnival, Celebrity, Royal Caribbean. I'm picking on Carnival because I'm on a Carnival ship. Why not? Okay, let's first, before we even continue reading this article, I'm going full screen. Before we even continue, let's weigh the pros, because I'm optimistic. I like to see the pros. So what's the biggest pro of nuclear power? It's clean. It's the cleanest energy source that we pretty much have until it's depleted, and then it's one of the filthier ones, unfortunately. It's hard to dispose of, but in the interim, you are not using marine-grade fuels, which are one of the dirtiest burning fuels that you can possibly imagine. So that is a big benefit. It's also, you buy it once, and you're not filling up the gas tank. Now, I'm not a nuclear engineer, so if you are one, please chime in with your expertise in the comments below. I will be happy to pin your comment at the very top. You write something, well, educational, informative, or funny about nuclear-powered cruise ships. I don't know, man. I've seen enough, maybe it's just TV shows, but I've seen enough horror stories about these kind of nuclear incidents. Let's get back into this article. I've got so much more to say on this. The deployment of Nucleo's lead-cooled fast reactor would involve placing a mini nuclear reactor on cruise ships as a small nuclear battery, according to a statement from Fincantieri, which also said that refueling would only be required once every 10 to 15 years with limited maintenance and easy replacement at the end of its service life. What is easy? What is easy about replacing a nuclear reactor? Please tell me. Please tell me, because where does it go? You got to bury it in the ground? Do you launch it off into space? Like, is Elon Musk going to be taking cruise ship reactors up and shooting them off into the stratosphere? These are questions, and these are questions that need answered before maybe we take the plunge into something like this. Now, not needing to fill up a ship every 10 to 15 years, think of the benefits to that. Because bunkering, well, it's a dangerous process. It involves a lot of people. It's a lot of unnecessary risk if you don't ever have to do it. And, well, what would the ticket prices be like on a cruise ship if they didn't constantly have to fill up with fuel, one of their larger expenses? It's an interesting proposition, and I'm glad that somebody is looking into it. I just don't know that a large floating vessel that we already have trouble with keeping under control at all times, and we've reported on plenty of situations where cruise ships have broken free from mooring lines, cruise ships have plowed docks, cruise ships have run aground. We've reported on these type of things in the past couple of years, dozens of them. And to imagine adding a nuclear reactor to the mix, I mean, I guess if a ship sinks, water will cool, right? That's what they use to cool these rods in the nuclear reactors. If you don't know how they work, a very, very basic layperson explanation is they're rods, and they essentially boil water and create steam, which spins a turbine, which creates energy, electricity. So again, it's very clean. The only byproduct is steam, which, well, some of us like to relax in a steam room from time to time. So a nuclear-powered steam room. Now we're talking. Maybe that's the future. Forget nuclear-powered ships, nuclear-powered steam rooms. Now, the article goes on to say that this is mostly targeting the shipping industry. However, if Fincantieri is involved, it's likely that these same technologies would make their way into commercial passenger vessels as well. And the goal here is to decarbonize the marine industry by 2050, which that's an ambitious goal. I don't know how you're going to manage that unless you throw sails back up on top of a ship, which, let's be real, actually works and is carbon neutral for the most part. I don't know what it takes to build a sail or install it or transport it, but once it's there, it's not using carbons. Also, using nuclear power on ships would safeguard the marine ecosystems further in the event of an accident. According to the announcement, with Nucleo's design, the liquid lead inside the reactor would solidify as it cooled down once it came in contact with water, enclosing the reactor in a solid casing and containing all radiation, thanks to the properties of lead. Okay, now we're talking. Now we are talking, see? Okay, so there you go. There's a reaction that may actually solve the problem of a nuclear energy disaster. Now, the other thing is here, when we read about or learn about these disasters, these happen on land, right? They're close to where people are. If a disaster happened in the middle of the ocean where a reactor goes meltdown, well, it's far, far, far away from anybody else. It's going to be a lot less of an issue, really, especially if it goes under the water, right? And if this is the case, this could be the way of the future, and that is really cool, if you ask me. I don't know how pie in the sky this is. This was a very interesting article. I'm very curious to hear what you have to say about this. Would you consider cruising on a nuclear-powered cruise ship? I mean, we've already got nuclear-powered submarines. That's a little bit different because you don't have a bunch of drunk people, and they're a little bit smaller, a little bit more maneuverable. Again, I'm not a submariner either. I'm just a man who talks about cruises on the internet. Leave me your thoughts, your opinions, and make sure you get subscribed because, whew, we got some stuff coming out. The next episode, Midships Minutes, drops in 2 hours' time. We're talking about the Carnival Jubilee receiving her hat. We'll see you then.
La 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 la.